right? Bismillah, that's a permanent marker. That's a permanent marker? You gotta fit it. No, dry erase. Just playing with me. Troublemaker. That's your son. This story happened in the time of the Prophet ﷺ. Dead people. This story happened in the time of the Prophet ﷺ. It happened 3 years after they went to Medina. And the story goes, you know who lived in Medina, by the way? Does anybody know? Some of the tribes, some of the groups that lived in Medina? Any names? Anybody?
I don't name, but I think it was the Jewish tribe.
Jews? Okay. So there were Jews. Who else? Who else lived in Medina? Teacher. Kuffar. The two groups that brought the Prophet in. Aus. Aus. Yep. Okay. Don't mind my handwriting. Aus and Khazraj. These three groups are the ones that we're going to talk about today in today's story. So the story goes, once upon a time, there was a person that went to one of the battles with Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. And after that battle, he received a shield from that battle. So he stored that shield in his house. This person's name was... Nope. Rafa. And he was from Aus. And as some of you might know, and if you don't know, now you will know, Aus and Khazraj, there were problems with them before the Prophet came in. And even after, there was still Qabali and there was issues between them. The same thing with the Jews. As a group, there was issues between them and between the Prophet and Aus and Khazraj. So there was always issues between those groups. When the Prophet came, he collectively collected them and became one group. But still, Qabaliya, or the nationalism, is something still in all of them. So Rafa had the shield. That shield was a very, very expensive item. Picture a car. That's how expensive. Whoa, yeah, exactly. Picture a car. That's something like a car, something very expensive to have. And especially at that time, they were very poor, they had nothing. So one time, at night, within a day or two from receiving that shield got stolen. Okay? And a man by the name of Qatada, which is the nephew of Rafa'a, saw someone at night walking outside the house of Rafa'a. And he knew it was a person by the name of Bashir. So Qatada saw Bashir walking away. When he called on him, when you call on someone, Bashir, and you don't respond, he called him more than once and he walked away. He felt that something was iffy about it, but he let it go. It's fine. The next morning, when he went to his uncle told him, my shield was stolen. Someone stole my shield, and I don't know what to do. Qatada didn't tell him, I saw someone. He just said in his mind, okay, you know what? I saw Bashir, and I think Bashir did it. I'm not going to tell my uncle. I'm going to go to the Prophet and tell him I saw this happen. So he went to Prophet ﷺ, and he told him, I saw Bashir taking that. I think he took that there. So the Prophet ﷺ got really upset. Why? Did anybody tell me why?
Because he doesn't know if it was actually him?
He said, I think. That's one thing. But the problem is, Aus were what? was what? Muslims. Khazraj or what? Muslims. Muslims. The thief was a Muslim, so the Prophet God said that the thief was Muslim. That's item one. Two, there was battles between those two groups. There was a lot of issues. There was battles between them. Yes, Josh. So these battles, if this comes up and he stole something, the battle might be more imminent. So the Prophet got a little worried about it. So he sent people to go out to go check what's happening. Who got wind that that's happening? Who do you think? No? Bashir. Someone told him this is happening. Bashir said, not me, I didn't do it. You know what? I saw Zayd do it. And Zayd was a Jew. And Zayd happened to live next door to Bashir. So he went and he said, send the cops to Zayd's house. And they went and he said, I didn't do anything. Do whatever you want to do. Go check everything in the house. I didn't do anything. I am 100% sure. Now remember, if that's the situation, it's a little better for the Muslims that this is the case. At least the thief was not one of the Muslims. It's one of the Jews. So he went and checked it, and it was in his garden. So what would happen at that point? Who's the thief? Zayd.
What if Bashir put it there?
Huh?
What if Bashir put it there?
We'll find out. Dun, dun, dun. So, they went to the Prophet, the people that went to check it out, they went to the Prophet and said, Zayd was the thief. And they said that, please make sure that you announce that Bashir was not the thief. And that way you clear him from anything that was related to him. So the Prophet ﷺ went ahead and cleared everything off of Bashir, and he said, nothing has happened. And Bashir is not the thief, and we caught the thief. At the same time, they're saying, I didn't do it. I don't know why it's in my garden, but I didn't do it. At that time exactly, 3 people went to the Prophet and told him, we saw Zayd steal that and it's in his garden. That's how they knew to find his garden. Now these 3 people, can anybody guess where they're from? No. Khazraj. The 3 people were from Khazraj. They went to the Prophet and told him, it's in Zayd's house. At the end of the night, Zayd was in prison because he allegedly stole something. Now, if it stopped there, is this justice? Even though someone and someone else might know something that's not the truth? Is this right? No, it's not right. Jibreel came down before Fajr to the Prophet ﷺ and told him, Bashir is the thief, Zayd is innocent. It turns out, Bashir found out that Qatada went and talked to the Prophet. He went to his tribe and talked to them. And he said, I did something wrong. But you gotta protect me, because if I'm caught, the whole tribe, the whole gathering that we have here is gonna be tarred with this incident. So we gotta fix it. And he said, to fix this and to point any fingers away from me, I moved it to Zayd's garden. But I can't go and say to the Prophet that I didn't do it. So you guys, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, I want you to go and tell the Prophet. You decided, you know what? I don't want part of this. This is part of lying. I'm not going to do it. Get me out of it. He said, be quiet. Don't even go there. Just stay on your side. The other 3 went. And they talked to the Prophet and said, we saw Zayd do it, and he took it, and that's what he did. Jibreel came at night, before Fajr. Now they prayed Isha and went to bed. Before Fajr. To clear who? Zayd and the Jews in the time of the Prophet. You know what they used to do? How many times they tried to do it? They tried to poison the Prophet. More than once. They tried to kill him. More than once. More than once. So if you think about it, who is the enemy? What did Jibreel come to say? To clear whose name? The Jews. Because why? It's justice. It's the right thing to do. It doesn't matter who did that. You just don't blame someone else. You don't do the mistake and blame someone else. You don't do something and go blame your brother or sister. You don't do that. So that's exactly, yeah, you're laughing, because that's what happened. That's where this is going. You're laughing because unfortunately that's what happens. Remember, subhanAllah, the story of Quran, the stories in the Quran, it's not an incident and a capture of a specific time. It's human beings. It's us as human beings. We do this all the time. So, Zayd was cleared. Bashir was the robber. So he was supposed to be punished for it. He ended up escaping. And I'll just for a second, continue the story. At Fajr prayer, Prophet ﷺ cleared Zayd's name and announced that Bashir was the thief and that he was supposed to go to prison or to be prosecuted for what he did. Bashir found out. He ran away to Quraysh. When he went to Quraysh, you know what he did? He left Islam. He decided, you know what? I'm done. I'm going to go away from this. I'm tired of this. I'm done with it. There is different narrations of what happened to him, but he started as a thief, right? He stole stuff there as well. One of the story goes that he stole stuff from the people that were in Quraysh, went on a ship, and to cross whatever sea, it doesn't matter which sea. On that ship, he stole from the captain of the ship. And what happened on the sea at that time? If they catch a thief, what happens to them?
He
Walks the plank.
He walks the plank. He walked the plank. And it's funny, when I was preparing for it, one of the people that was kind of describing it, he said that there was 3 different narrations of how he died. He's leaning more towards drowning. Why? The other one, a wall fell on him. The other one, the other story, that he worshipped an idol until he died. He said, I'm leaning more towards that he died drowning, because he drowned in his sin. And that's what he did throughout his life. And that's what ended up. That's the end of the story. That's the end of the story. It's a simple story. Now, the question is to you guys. From this story, and why are we doing stories? Why are we doing stories? From the Quran. To learn from them. Because what does story describe? Describe human beings, people like us. So, from this story, tell me what you've learned. You didn't know what there was 3 groups, okay? Check. Karma, pretty much. Yeah, what goes around, turns around. What else? That's
Don't lie and blame someone else or anything.
That's the essence. That's one of the key factors of this story. Do not lie and blame it on someone else. He did it. How many times, honestly speaking, so you don't have to answer me, just answer in your head. How many times have you done something and you blamed it on someone else? Don't tell me you didn't do it. Every human being does it. How many times you've done something and you blamed it on someone else? Now next time when you do this, think about this. He intentionally did it. He wanted to blame someone else, to get him in trouble. I didn't do it, someone else did it, not me. Now what's the other thing, an important thing that we learned here? One other important factor. Anybody? No. Anything else? Nothing? I'm with you.
You know, people are bad. That doesn't mean that they're the people that did it.
If you know people are bad, that doesn't mean that they did it. In other words, if I understand you correctly, if someone said that someone did something bad, but there's nothing to prove it, you just don't go and make sure that, oh yes, that's the
I
person
know
that
what
did it.
he means. He means like since Jews was the enemy, and
Yes.
like they always like.
That you always blame them for it. That makes sense. Yes. I was asking. I'm just asking. What else? What else have you learned? There's one important thing that we should have learned, or should stick in our head. Yeah. Huh? Don't leave Islam. That's a good one. Don't leave Islam. Smarty, tell them. What have you learned?
Well, I could just list everything everyone else just said.
Okay, that's not what I want. You know that.
But that's something I learned.
I know, but I'm something else. I didn't say what have you learned. What's something else have you learned? There's one key thing that Jibreel came and did. What did he do?
He
Oh.
provided justice.
Justice. There you go. See? It was up there, just hiding. He provided justice. Doesn't matter to who. Now, justice. Does that apply only to judges, or does that apply across the board? You worked on a project, and eventually, guys, when you go to college, you can go through this, and I know you have. You work on a project, and you slack all through the semester, and wait until someone does the work for you. Hey, can you put my name on it? What is that? Can you do that?
I know it.
Yes.
Cheat.
That's cheating? That is cheating.
So,
But that does happen. That does happen. Is that justice? The thing is, a lot of us think of justice when it comes to law. Something that happened. Things that relate to that nature. But justice in everything. How you deal with your siblings. As a parent, how do I deal with my kids? Do I deal with all three of them the same? Do you deal with your siblings the same? You say yes. Prove it. See, that's the thing. We say that we do things, but the application is always hard. So that's it. That's today's story. Each one of us needs to ask themselves, do I deal with justice with everyone around me? One thing that I want to make sure that you guys get clear, and I'm sure you get it clear, SubhanAllah, each one of us has a compass inside that tells them what's right and wrong. What did they do here? This group, what did they do here? They followed the liar. Not just followed the liar, they went along with it. Now, how many of you were sitting in a group with people, and I'm sure that happened, that they did something wrong? Just don't tell on me. Just let it be. We're cool here. One of them would decide, I don't want to be part of it. Just don't get me involved. A couple others will say, you know what? I'm with you all the way. I'm going to go ahead and go along with that story. Please do not be among those. Please do not be among those. And in the Quran, I didn't mention the ayat. It's in Surat An-Nisa, ayah 105. It goes from 105 all the way, I think, to 110. And it describes this incident. That's the key. Do not get yourself involved with this. Anybody has any other questions? Other than Salah playing on the floor. Questions? Yes.
What happened to that one person that Rashid picked out and told him to say the last thing they didn't do it? Like, did he get punished for no?
No, he did not. Well, that's the thing. That's a good question. He was very upset at himself for not going and saying the truth. Because he considered himself part of the lie. Because he didn't go and say it. He just basically, I was quiet, I'm not going to be part of it. But he knew that what happened to Zayd? Initially, what happened to Zayd that night? He was going to be incarcerated. He was going to be prosecuted for something he didn't do. Didn't that guy know? So not being part of or not saying what's right, you're an accomplice just like that. Definitely. That's what happened to him. That's what Bashir is. He was at the beginning of a Muslim, and then he decided he's stealing, he's doing all this. These are signs of munafiqeen, hypocrites. You say something and you don't do it. But not just that. Not just that you say something and you don't do it. There's other aspect that follow through. What else? Anybody else? Yes.
Bashir committed an injustice against himself by running away from his sin and not admitting to it and asking for forgiveness.
Yep. SubhanAllah. What happened to the three? That's a good point. What happened to the three? It's in the Quran. What happened to them?
Did they die?
No. They made istighfar and asked for forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah forgave them. They understood that they wronged themselves. They did something wrong. And they made istighfar for what they've done. Bashir, on the other hand, was arrogant. You know, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to be part of this. I'm just leaving the whole thing. And he just left. What else? Yes. Su'adhan is similar to what he mentioned. Su'adhan is, if I'm understanding correctly, that when they believed it was the Jew, everybody wanted to believe that, even though it was not the Jew that stole. But because of the history of what's happening. You know what that falls under? Does anybody know what that falls under? Huh? No? Go ahead. Something that I'm sure each one of you falls into in school. Stereotype. Stereotype. What is stereotype?
I really don't know.
You really don't know? Well, what's stereotype?
Like saying that a certain gender or like race or something like that likes a specific or does.
You define a specific group of people by one or two aspects that they do. But you lump them all into it. What's the most famous one right these days that's happening in the media?
Probably blondes are stupid.
What is it?
Oh, when he said blondes are stupid.
Oh, but it is part of stereotyping. But we're talking about
It's been around forever.
yeah. But that stereotype, is that correct? It's not. It's not correct. We know what we have on our end. What we've been told about us, right? Is that right? What else? Anything else?
Weird terrorists.
Weird. Yep. That's basically what they say about us. Yes.
Don't just side with your own group.
Don't just side with your own group. And that's basically what this group did. People from Khazraj. That's what they did. Regardless of where the truth was, they sided with each other. And you see that happening nowadays as well. You got different groups, you side with one group, regardless of what they're doing right or wrong. You're just siding with them. I'm with them. What else? Yes.
The thing is, like, because they sided with them, but that was because they had evidence to blame the Jewish.
No. They knew. He told them that I stole it.
People of that tribe.
The people of that tribe. Well, when he went to his group, he basically told them, I did this, but I want you to cover me. So they were in on it. So if it's not that he basically just went and said the Jew did it without knowing, because they found evidence. Eventually, yes, okay, the Jew did it. But the truth is, because these three people said that it's not Bashir, they did it. Just because of that, everybody has said, okay, yeah, that's right. Like just basically like what the media says now. Muslims are terrorists, so everybody follows them down.
This one, Zayd became Muslim?
No, he was not. And it's funny because one of the commentaries that I heard about the story is that, well, after this happened, Zayd being a Jew and the Quran is coming to clear his name, he should become a Muslim, right? Well, he didn't. Justice is justice no matter what. Justice is justice no matter what. Quran coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to clear his name. You would think he would say, okay, well, if that's clear my name, I should at least think about it. No, because nobody else knew. Everybody around was saying, oh, he did it. He committed it, even though he didn't. Yes, anybody else? Saw raise your hand. Walk.
Yes.
You have a question?
No, it's strange.
Okay. Yes.
Why didn't the fourth God tell the prophet that?
He just decided I'm going to stay quiet.
He's passive submissive.
Exactly. Passive submissive. He just basically, it's none of my business. Not going to see from my house. That's what people say. It's not going to affect me. So that's why he decided, you know what, I don't want to be part of it. What else? Going once? Going twice? Any questions? Okay, it's a wrap. Jazakallah khair, inshallah. I guess let's just get prepared for. Prepared to find the